Now, in terms of doing your skills audit, this tends to be the most key skills that get recruited. The most common, and you see in every board, there's somebody who's actually a finance and accountant. So you can see chartered accountants tend to get hired easily for boards. They don't even have to look for those opportunities. People that have done audit or risk in their degree, they also easily find board positions. And lawyers, they tend to, because there's always regulatory issues. So when you have a lawyer on your board, you almost get free legal services. So these are most common. But as I said earlier, if you don't have the expertise, if you don't have the experience, if you don't have the certificate in any of these three, then what do you do? What other business skills then can you bring? What other skill set can you bring at the table? And this has to be at a strategic level, not at operational level. And the next business skills, once a board says, okay, let's diversify or look outside this 3 or 4 board opportunities. So the most common one, if you have a board with just 4 people or 5 people, it will also be somebody with finance or accounting, audit, risk, and legal. Then the next level is, okay, let's now look at the next 3 people that we look at. It will be somebody who can raise or who has experience raising capital or fundraising. Fundraising tends to actually happen with NGOs that need to constantly raise funds, and they need their boards to just engage in networking at high level, raising funds. There's experience in business strategy. If you've worked in a business unit and you led the business strategy, that's a skill that actually you could use to look for a job. There's marketing and sales, especially for companies in FMCG that are client-facing. They need somebody with this kind of expertise. You also get professional services. Professional services are things like, as I said, legal services, IT. Basically, once in a while, if they need to bring you on board to help with specific professional services. Then there's also industry experts. If you're working in a very niche industry, you could actually bring that forth. But can I ask, which industry are you in as an operations manager?
Bank, in the bank.
In the bank, yeah. So basically you're in the finance and accounting group.
Yeah.
But sure. There's also other expertise in a bank that come on board in terms of, online banking is also unique. Peer banking, China's bringing a whole bunch of banking. From a legal point of view, you get the traditional legal experts, but then so much has changed that you need international finance. Online cybersecurity is very niche. So they might look for somebody who's actually an industry expert in cybersecurity or Bitcoin, or what's the other one, the technical funding. But what can you think of any unique business skills that you would actually consider using in banking that are outside the 3 most common areas? So in terms of the business skills, if you don't have the most common, if you don't have the business skills, there's also, you can pitch your diversity skills. So I think in Silicon Valley in the last 3 years, there was a move towards gender empowerment. So there were a lot of women that were being included on boards, and it's a very proactive rate. So a lot of women actually, they were not positioned to actually take advantage of this new move towards, introducing people into, or women on boards. There's an issue of race, as I said, with Black Lives Matter. A lot of companies found that they actually did not have Black people on their, or people of color, or people of the race that they serve on their boards. And as a result, they're making costly and wrong decisions, and they don't want to be on the wrong side of history. There's also issues of culture that companies that, you look at, for instance, a multinational company like Coca-Cola, that if they're in China or they're in South Africa, in South Africa, they had a very interesting strategy where they started people putting African names on cans. And then that's the strategic move to adapt into a culture to make money. And so you could actually pitch that, you're either you understand the culture, or you're very closer to the culture that the company is representing. There's also fresh talent, as I say, with digitalization. There's a lot of fresh talent that's coming into the market with skills that, as far as last year, they didn't even work. A lot of people didn't even know how to use Zoom. And now you basically have, I saw somebody advertise that they're executive panel facilitator for Zoom, because people don't have time to navigate new things in the market. They want to use their old skills and continue. So you could be bring that fresh talent, or you could be a disruptor, which disruptors tend to come in the form of millennials, that basically make companies think outside the box and bring them closer to the real target market. Or you could be a subject matter expert. If you look at a board that doesn't have a specific subject matter expert, in banking, there's lots of skills there's a lot of expertise in banking. If your board does not have the expertise that you think as a bank you need, you could actually pitch to the board that you're looking at. Say, yes, you do have the finance person, you've got an audit, your function as a board, but having a subject matter expert would be critical. Or you could even get an invitation to a board to present on a specific subject matter, and you could position yourself as that's what you do. I've also done that with my China expertise here. I'm a subject matter expert on China. If I can work with your boards to advise them on, if they're in the lead to board meetings, I could advise them on China issues. There's also a geography. I think being in Mauritius and also being in Africa, a lot of multinational companies, they operate in African markets, but they're not close to the ground. So they need a board member who could actually be closer to the ground or understands the market, or who basically can serve on the board. In some areas, you basically have family members. If you have a family that runs a board, or if you're actually running a board, you could include a family member because you know that they're basically going to aggressively protect the interests of the family, or they understand their family legacy, or they've been with the family business for a long time, that they might understand it at arm's length. Or you might have family members that cannot be part of the business, but they basically can contribute as a board member. So, and as we saw, there's lots of ways that boards are created. Some families have trusts, but they don't have family members representing them on their trust. So you could actually pitch to a board as a family member to say, you bring in the interest of the family to protect the family interests at a board level.